Hey guys, Mike here from sellyourservice.co.uk. Welcome to our video on building webinar funnels. Now, I'm a huge fan of webinar funnels for a few reasons. First of all, they're a fantastic way to grow your email list. It's really easy for you to be able to put up one sign-up page or 2 pages in this particular example, and you can grow your email list this way. It's also a great way to start making sales. Now, admittedly, webinars have become a little bit more difficult to get people to sign up to and buy from. However, I think that's for broader markets. I think if you are working with a very specific market in mind, they're a fantastic resource to get to use in order to sell to your market. But also, they're a really good way for you to be able to explode a customer's growth if you build their webinar funnel for them. Let's say you're working with someone who sells insurance. Okay, insurance is a pretty boring product, frankly. Most of the time it's considered a necessary evil, but if you put together a package where you can say to your current customer, hey, I want to help you sell more to your customers, why don't we have a look at some of the benefits, or maybe we can teach them how to save a load of money on their insurance, drive them to a sale. B2B works very, very well for webinars. What we find is that what a fantastic time for you to drive your tractor past my window. What we find is B2B sales work really well, particularly when it comes to things like training. If you position genuinely useful training on the webinar, you'll find it's much easier to sign people up. For example, let's say that your customer sells accountancy services, and maybe you could do a webinar for them or help run a webinar for them. You don't have to present it. I just want to take you through how we build out our processes and everything included in every single step of a webinar funnel. So I want to show you what each page includes. I was going to do this as a live walkthrough, but I thought it might be more interesting to do it on the whiteboard because I can kind of demonstrate and show things perhaps a bit easier from a funnel perspective. So first of all, this is the main reason why I love webinar funnels, is because you can just create a sign up page. You don't have to create the slides yet, you don't have to create the materials, you don't have a buy button, anything like that. And if you give yourself enough time, you can drive a lot of traffic to a sign up page, get people to buy, sign up to the webinar, and then in a few weeks time when you're ready, you can build out the slides, and then you've got something to offer them. So with our sign up pages, we have a few really important pieces. The first thing is the date and the time. Now, typically, we'll put those up here above the actual opt-in. Now, we use a very simple kind of 2-column opt-in page for our sign-up pages. We're going to start experimenting with a 1-column sign-up page because we reckon for mobile that kind of might be the way for it to go. But for the time being, we just keep our logo at the top here to make sure that people know it's branded. Typically, our webinars, the traffic that we'll send to webinars, are warm traffic, remarketing, our current email list. We do run cold traffic to webinars, but we have to change the offer slightly, and I think that this is a faster way to begin to generate revenue, is by offering it to a current email list or to warm traffic. So we have the date and we have the time. That's the countdown. And make sure, some people, for example, Jacob from Funnel Flows asked me, what do I do when the date and time runs down? We personally do redirect them to another page. After the date and time have run down, we redirect them and say, oh, sorry, you've missed out. We're working on a way to be able to remove the opt-in form and just delete it, and it says, sorry, this webinar's sold out. But at the moment, we redirect them to a timeout page. But you don't have to do that. Just for the time being, for your first funnel, don't worry about that too much. Have the date and the time. Your opt-in, that's going to be your name, and their email address. And you want to have this sign up button nice and visible, and it doesn't necessarily need to say something like sign up. It could say join the webinar, save my space, get my ticket, those kinds of things. The headline is probably the most important because that's going to make or break it. The headline should sell the webinar to the attendee before they've even decided to view it or not. Usually we take the headline and we have it as some kind of promise or result without having to do something else. So how to save $500 on your insurance without changing your carrier. If we were talking about building a business, so how to find 5 new customers every single day without having to cold call, or without having to spend money on Facebook ads, or how to build Facebook advertising without having to spend thousands on tests. So that's the type of formula we use for a headline, is how to result without, typical previous problem or previous myth. We'll then tell a short story, usually a really short, like 2 or 3 lines, maybe a paragraph at most, just saying, and we'll try to mention the market in there as well. So if you're If you're a father of two and you want to buy home insurance and life insurance, you know that every year it goes on, it goes up every single year. We want to show you how you can actually lower your monthly costs, your insurance costs, without having to change carrier. So that would be the short story. And then we have these 5 bullet points. To me, the bullet points and the headline are probably the most important part of the opt-in process, so the sales process to the customer. But the date and time are without a doubt, we have done just headline, date and time. We haven't had any of the story or the bullet points. So if I had to choose an order of priority, 1, the opt-in form, sounds obvious, but I'm staggered at how many people actually still forget it. 2, I think the date and the time is really important to show the countdown perspective, to show that it is live. 3, make sure you get the headline. 4, do the bullet points. 5, do the story. The logo, you know, it's not going to make or break your business. I think it's important, but we have converted people on a webinar without having to use a logo at the top. So as our sign up page here, the bullet points are importantly what they're going to learn. You have to flip it from not what you're going to teach to what they're going to learn. So rather than saying, I'm going to teach you how to save money, it's going to be, you're going to learn how to save money. Can you see the difference between the two? I try to use words like you, that's more powerful in this particular perspective. So you're going to learn how to save money. You're going to learn how to build Facebook advertising. Another couple are things like, you know, the secret that Facebook doesn't want you to know, or the secret that your current insurance provider doesn't want you to know. The secret one is a good point, and the number of steps, so 5 steps to saving $500 a year, or 13 steps to building a Facebook campaign. 13 might be too many. I think between 3 and 7 is probably the best. So those are the kind of bullet points we like to have, really concise, really simple for people to understand. And that's our sign up page. You can see how quickly you could build that up. You don't have to have too much of the content. You just have to think about the benefits and the results that they're going to get and what they're going to learn. Although it'll be framed around what you're going to teach, it's vital that you position it to the customer or to the sign up as what they are going to learn. So what are you going to learn? When someone signs up, we take them directly to a confirmation page. Now, this is something that I know a lot of businesses have ignored as of late. I'm not entirely sure why. I think it's because they think, well, if they've signed up, our webinar automation system will take care of the reminders and the confirmation. I still think it's vital to say you're in, or thank you, or you've saved your seat. Something that we've started doing as well is similar to our thank you pages. Everyone knows that I absolutely love thank you pages. Is acknowledge and confirm. So I still say something along the lines of, you've signed up to our webinar on the 13th of March at 6 p.m. Central. Your email invite and space, you know, and ticket is on its way to your email. So I acknowledge the action that they've taken and I confirm that they've done it. I could just acknowledge it, and I want you to think about this. I could just say, acknowledge their action. You've signed up to our webinar. Okay, well, have I got a space? Have I signed up or whatever? You know, I need to know. That's the second half, the confirmation. The confirmation is saying you've saved a space on our webinar. It will be coming on the way to your email inbox. Keep an eye out. We have a spam note as well. In that kind of same area, we say, you know, remember to check your spam folder because it might go through. A little automation piece. What we do is we build this part here with Beaver Builder. That's the form there is built using Beaver Builder. This passes the information onto Active Campaign, and then using Zapier, we have a Zap which passes those details onto Zoom. So they do register our webinars via Zoom. All this detail is sent via Zoom, which is going to be important for the reminder emails. So all of this data is passed on to Zoom. Anyway, going back to our confirmation page, we have a spam notification. I will also remind them of the time and the date. That's really important, just to keep drilling it in there. And something I think is really easy for you to be able to offer is a little calendar link. You could just have a little Google Calendar link, a Yahoo Calendar link, an iCalendar link. Typically, if you're building it using a webinar platform like Webinar Jam or Zoom, they'll actually give you those links, and just copy them in here and just have that underneath, you know, those 3 little calendar icons. Some other stuff you can add into the confirmation page, you know, your tracking pixel, just to make sure that you're measuring those conversions. I really like to have a video. If I have a video on my sign up page, I'll try and have a video on my confirmation page. But if I need to get something done really quickly, I won't bother with any of that. I'll just create the sign up page. I'll just say, hey, here's the sign up page. But if I was going to have a video, it might be up here, or it might be slightly further down here. And on the acknowledgement page, the video might be front and center for me to be able to say, hey, thanks very much for joining. Here's what's going to happen. Now, after that happens, we send a bunch of reminder emails. As a rule, we send them 1 week before the event, 1 day before the event, and 1 hour before the event. That process there is usually handled by Zoom, which is why we register them via Zoom, via Zapier. So we say any information that comes in via Zapier with this tag on this list, send it over to Zoom. Make sure that Zoom can then deal with all the automation pieces. And that will be then your live webinar, because you'll handle it with whatever delivery page or delivery process you're going to use. For example, Zoom will be taken care of on Zoom. Webinar Jam might be with Webinar Jam was Demio. Here's what I like to do as well. When I'm building out this funnel, I like to build my delivery page at the same time. I like to try and keep the branding all consistent across them. It's also easier for me to remember it, and it's faster for me to do this, because when I go evergreen, when I upload the video, which I want to have right in the center here, and I'll have links, you know, to any of the resources that I've mentioned. I might have the buy button to the product if I'm selling on that particular webinar, and I'll have the headline up here. It's easier for me to copy and paste it and create it now and just have that video ready and waiting to go. Because when I go evergreen, what I'm going to do is I will remove the date and time, okay, and I'll remove that kind of redirect that says obviously if the time runs out. This instantly makes it evergreen. I'll also remove the thing like saying you're in, but I'll still confirm their action, and I'll say, you know, it's here's your ticket or something like that, and you know the ticket to your training recording is going to be sent on your way. I'll get rid of the calendar link, and instead of then these reminder emails, what we'll do is we will send them via an email a link to this delivery page, so that the second I finish this webinar, I can upload the recording to our delivery page, and then instantly I've got myself an evergreen funnel that offers training on the front end and actually could convert a sale on the back end, and boom, that's done, that's taken care of. No more problems you know, selling on automation, because I've created a funnel that does it for me. I could even use some of these reminder emails or the texts after someone signed up to try and drag them back and maybe send one an hour after, a day after, and a week after, just to make sure that they've seen the delivery page, so I can flip that model and start sending them that way as well. That's ultimately how we build webinars. I'd be really interested to hear if that was useful for you guys. If you're ever building webinars, make sure to set up the pages as quickly as you can, and try to use a template. Bring into some of that system. We obviously have at Sell Your Service kind of coach courses and stuff on how to build webinar funnels. If anyone's interested in that, just let me know. I'll probably paste the link to that down below, like our entire how to build a marketing funnel course. I am Mike from Sell Your Service. I'd love to know what you thought about the video. If you've got any questions about webinar funnels or building any other types of funnels, let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, guys, thanks very much, and keep building those funnels.